Okay boys, RimWorld is GGEs. This is an easy game and I'll show you guys how to start, how to go through the first few days and what you need to do. Now I recommend starting with the crash landed. You get a few things, you get 3 colonists and you get a few research. You get weapons as well. I highly recommend, if you're new, start with crash landed. Then storyteller, this depends on yourself which one you want. I usually play random because it's just the most fun. It's random. It tells the best story basically. I recommend starting on Strive to Survive and Commitment mode. The reason for that is that's how the game was intended to be played, and also yet again better story. I'm going to go on Reload anytime because just in case I want to go back and show you guys something or anything like that. Now for the seed, I will put in the first day. With the seed you can put it in and put everything else exactly the same as me, and you can play along on the same map exactly. So it's TFT if you want to play on the same seed. Now on where to start, I highly recommend a temperate forest with year round or close to year round growing. This just gives you a little bit easier start. You can grow food basically anytime unless there's a cold snap that will still kill your crops, but I recommend that. And then also I recommend somewhere with large hills or small hills or large hills. I highly recommend large hills for extra protection. Then the second thing I look at is the factions that or that basically doesn't hate me. I want to be close to them for trading, easier trading and traveling. So I found this spot. It's 50 out of 60 days farming, which is fine. You can also play on this one. Basically only 10 days of really cold where you won't be able to grow anything. Then there's large hills for some extra protection and mining. And the things we can mine, the stone types, are granite and sandstone. Now granite is a very hard stone which you will use later for defense. Okay, now that we have our spot close to a faction that we can trade with, we can get started. Next we have the ideology, which is a new thing. I'll make a video on this separately, but for now I'm just going to take this mild change, united family. Then the first colonists. I made the previous video I made about colonists and what they need and what to avoid and so on, so go check that out. It will be in the description if you want to see that, and then come back to this video. But I'm just quickly going to go through, get the colonists. I'll show you guys quickly what I took, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so something I quickly want to touch on is relationships. Usually when I pick my first colonists, I don't mind what relationships they have, but if they have a relationship with each other that can be beneficial, it will give some mood buffs and so on. If both of them can stay alive, if someone dies, that's a massive debuff in their mood. So what we took was this colonists have construction, mining and social, nervous, tough and kind. Then we have shooting, cooking and, well, animals as a bonus, quick sleeper and kind. And then we have plants and intellectual. That's what's going to go with them. I know there's some extras, but we don't mind that. Annoying voice, which is a shame, but yeah, we'll go with it. And off we go. And so your 3 colonists arrive. Okay, this is a complete vanilla playthrough. So what's the first thing you need to do? Well, first things I always do is go on to allow, right click and unforbid all items. That's the first step. Second, I look around the map to see where will be the best place to build. Now, close to the middle is nice because, you know, everything's kind of close to here. All the stuff you have is close to this spot, and you want some mountains, right? That's why I said take a large hills for some extra protection. Now, looking at this screen, we have the fertile soil where we want to grow. Now, I saw this nice spot down here, and it's also kind of in the mountains. We can easily secure this. So I think we should start on this spot. I think this is where we should build, or maybe even we can turn this into a little area for the start. Yeah, I think that's good. It's a little bit far from this, but it's okay because I'm gonna build a kitchen and the stockpile, like the fridge, and anyway separately, and the dining hall. So I think we'll start off with this, allowing them to sleep in that. That's the first thing I do. So now we have a spot. Also, I usually check for the steam geysers. You see this one? This? I click them like that, zoom out, and I double tap just to see a little bit easier where we have more of them. Now it seems like we don't really have any down here, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not the end of the world, so we will still build here. Okay, then the next thing is to find out who's going to be the main. Okay, so this is going to be the hunter. She's going to get this. Then secondly, we have her. She will get the revolver, and then she will be our melee unit or pawn or colonist. Where's the knife? There's the knife. Okay, then I usually in the start give the melee unit or the melee colonist the most or all of the armor, just because he or she is going to be up front fighting close quarters, taking probably most shots. So I want her to be the most protected out of all of them. The rest are going to have range. They're going to shoot from a far distance. Why is this not allowed? Wait. Oh, I did it too early. Okay, so just make sure everything spawned when you do this. Oh, not spawned. Everything came out of the pods. Okay, now next up, order. We need to set this. So I do this usually. I set all of this to 1 because I want them to do basic, bed rest, patient, and firefighting number 1. Then 1 doctor, just so that I don't want to spread the skill learning across all of them. I want 1 that's good. Unfortunately, we don't have a really good doctor, but that's okay for now. Then Carius, or whatever her name is, however you pronounce it, will be our warden, and she will also do the building for us. Now, secondary, she will do mining, and I'm not going to do any of this for now. We will set that. She's probably going to do this crafting as well, making some stone blocks for us. Secondly, we have our, now this all comes from why we selected this colonists. Handling goes to, not you. This is going to be the cook who also hunts, and secondary grows, and plant cutting I always put on 1, because when I want something to be cut down like trees and stuff like that for resources, I want them to do it instantly. I usually put this onto everyone, even though we don't have anyone that's really good at it. Then another thing on art, and we will set this to, I made a screw up. I usually have the one that's going to do the, oh no, I got confused. Let's start over. So this one's going to be our grower, plant cutting, and do secondary research. So when there's a period of no growing or anything like that, or everything's busy growing, she will do the research. And then this is our chef. Oh, she's also going to do the handling since she's with growing. This is our cook. He's going to do, or she's going to do cooking, hunting, and she's also going to help out occasionally with growing, just so that there's a little bit of extra help with the planting. And that seems good for the jobs. As we go through, this will change, and as we get new colonists. Then the place to build, our first little area where we want to sleep for the night will be this. Now, don't deconstruct, just reinstall. You can use that, reuse this. It gives beauty, so don't deconstruct it, just move it. Now, I want them to do that. Then growing is very important. You need to get growing soon. Early on, you want growing. You need to get this started as soon as possible. Click this little fertility overlay, and you can see the fertile soil, the not fertile, and the bad. Okay, this is the normal, fertile, and just bad. You only want to grow potatoes, but we'll get to that in anyway. Okay, so we want to set up a little spot here for some good old-fashioned rice. Okay, and then we want some heel root, not too much, but at least a little bit, and then we want some cloth. Also not too much. Remember, you only have 1 colonist that's basically going to do the growing, so you need to keep that in mind. So this is going to be rice. Rice gives the most food, it grows the quickest. The only time you wanna plant potatoes is if you are in this soil, in the stony soil. Okay, now this one will be heel root. We can't do this yet. You need someone with growing level 8. Then this will be cotton, just for if we want to build things like clothing and those kinds of things, and carpets. And now we can turn this off, and then we're gonna need some wood. Now don't chop too much. Remember, they can only do so much at the start. I do want to deconstruct this. I don't recommend doing it this early, but I think he's not gonna have too much to do. And then basically we just want to get some security in the start, so I think we're just gonna wall this off just for the start, and then we'll expand as time comes. Now another thing that I do is I get my stockpile set up quickly, just so that things don't decompose and get worse. So let's do this. This will just be the stockpile for the meanwhile. Like I said, we will absolutely sort all of this out. I just want them somewhere to sleep and a place to keep the stuff. The fridge and things like that, the kitchen and so on, will be close to the growing just to make it a lot quicker and easier. We will also make the pens for the animals close by, but that's until later on. So let's give them some time to finish up with this. Now, as you can see, the first night's already on us and we still don't have a spot to sleep. That's why you need to be quick. You want to be quick with this, and also the growing, you want to be really quick with the growing because you want food as soon as possible to feed your colony. You do not want to run out of food. If you get a starvation thingy coming up here and all 3 of your colonists are starving and you have no food, well, it's safe to say that's the end. Now, as daybreak, I'd like them to quickly install or build 3 beds. Now, let me just tell you a little something about beds. Wood gives comfort. If you use stone blocks, it's gonna give more beauty, but the comfort is gonna be down. So that's why I recommend just go with wood until you find something else that's better than just stone blocks. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We'll do it like that. Okay, let's zone the stockpile. For now, we can keep everything in here until I can set up the kitchen and the fridge. And there we go. The first 3 beds have been built. They are ready to sleep on that. It's not going to be the best, but it's better than sleeping on the ground. Now the growing area is finished as well. Okay, next up we want a little kitchen, a fridge, and a small dining area. We don't want to shoot the wealth, which is on this one. We don't want to shoot this wealth too high. That will make the raids a lot harder and more difficult. So we want to keep it nice and low for as long as we can. So just a small little fridge like this maybe, and a butchering table which we will set up on this side, not like that. We want it to be, you know what, yeah, we'll do it like this. Just wait before you build 7. This will be the kitchen, and then we want a small dining area. This can be a lot smaller for the butchering table and the kitchen, but we at a later point we will add more to them in anyway. Also the dining area will grow a little bit, but for now this is fine. From the fields, we want them to be able to go into the kitchen and store the stuff here. Now if we hunt something, we want them to walk in through this and into the butchering table. Also the hunted animals will be kept fresh here until someone comes to butcher them on this side, and the kitchen on this side. This way no one will go through the kitchen to get anything. They will not just walk through the kitchen, so it will stay cleaner than usual. This will be the traffic from here into here and here. Okay, you do not want your kitchen to be dirty, so we will go with a field stove for now, and then a butchering table on this side, and then we need a little, let's put this table in with some dining chairs, and now let's allow them to do that. So this way they have a place to eat, because as you know, colonists hated to eat without a table. And we have a place to butcher the animals and a place to cook food. Now this is going to be the fridge. We will get some electricity after this, but I'll show you guys that. Now remember guys, it's a RimWorld, right? Your playthrough might not look exactly like this, and this is maybe not the most efficient way, but it depends on your playstyle and how you want to play it and how you want to feel in your colony. That's the fun thing about RimWorld. So in order to tell you that this is exactly what you have to do, that's not true. This is guidelines. You can follow through with this and you will be fine, but you're not going to be able to do it exactly like this every time. It depends on what happens and what you have on the map, you know. Okay, they're starting to haul our stuff in. We can basically set this to be hauled out. Now we don't have a spot yet for this, but I'll show you guys now what we're going to do with this. So this is where I'm going to build a little construction crafting area. Just a small one, just basically at the moment for the stone crafting. We'll just do it like, yeah, like this. We'll add a door on this side, and then we will make a zone, a dumping zone, which goes like this. This might, well, let's do it for now on that spot. And then storage, we don't want anything except for chunks. We want stone chunks, and yeah, we'll leave that as well. So stone chunks is this that you see, and that's what they use to build bricks. So we want all of that nice and close to the stone. Let me just get him quickly. Close to the stone cutter, so that he can just go out, grab it, come back in, you know. So we'll place that on this spot. Now we just need to leave them for a moment to build and finish this up. We don't want to give them too much to do, otherwise they get confused, there's too much work to do, and they end up doing nothing. Another thing that's very important, recreation. Give them in the start a nice little wooden horseshoe to play with, so that they don't get too bored and get annoyed about that. Remember that, okay? Okay, the butchering table have been built. What I usually do is butcher creature, do forever. Then we can zone this area now for the food. So this is how I do my storage for the food. I do not allow rotten, I allow foods, and then I allow this and beer, because you need beer to be cold, obviously. No one likes hot beer. So that's what I do on that. Then we go back to this storage and we turn off food and we turn off this and beer. It's coming along. Now, I'd like her to build this in the morning, and I'm going to show you how to get her to build a specific thing that you want her to build as soon as she wakes up. Okay, so look, she just got some food, coming to the chair to eat at the chair and table. I think you guys know that they need that, and that helps them to stay relaxed, you know. So now after eating, I'm gonna right click this and say prioritize working on fuel stove. Now she will get the stuff and get it. If I want her to do basically something after that, let's say I want her to hold this away, I hold left shift, right click and do this. Now it's queued. She will first finish up with the stove and then hold this away. Now hopefully she doesn't hold the steel to here and then do that, but that's basically how that works, if you guys were wondering. Yeah, okay, so now I right click, left shift, right click, and after holding that she will come and do this basically. And there we go. Now we have a stove. Now food. In the beginning I do cook simple meals. I do until you have, and I do it until I have 15. And now I go into details, stop at restart, unpause at 5. So when there's 5 left, she will come back and do some cooking again. There she goes. Now I'd like them to take this away as well. And okay, so now schedule. Let's talk about schedule quickly. So by default they give 8 hours of sleep. Our colonist doesn't need 8 hours of sleep, okay? I add 2 recreation before going to bed so that they are nice and close to the sleeping area in any way. They can just go straight to sleep. Then 2 hours in the morning I allow them to do anything. Then 3 hours of work, 2 hours of recreation, 3 hours of work, then basically 2 hours of doing anything just in case they want to continue working or do recreation, and then 3 hours of work again, and then anything to finish up the work, come back and recreation. Okay, that's how I do it. This is the best way, not the best way, it depends all on you. This is how I like to do it, and to be honest, this change almost every time that I play through. I give them a different schedule every time depending on how I feel and things like that. So just see what works for you. Okay, they finished with the stone cutter. Now, as I said, granite is a very hard rock and it's great for defensive buildings, and it also gives a it gives a -8 on like this. But we will the first day, and the settlement will be named you at. Okay. So now we want some granite blocks, and I will say do until you have, let's say until you have 1,010. Okay, so now we need crafting. So after construction, mining, which we don't have anything now, and plant cutting, you will come and do some crafting. Now I'm gonna turn this off for now and leave him to do this, and then crafting. Like and subscribe. He's gonna be a bit busy at the start building because there's a lot of things you need, but after finishing with that he will go over to this. Hopefully we can get someone that's actually really good at crafting and we can set him to do those kinds of things. The reason why I want granite is because I want to build the defenses out of granite. I'm not gonna build it out of wood now. It's only gonna take time, and the first few raids aren't gonna be that hard in any way, so we might as well just wait until we can get some granite blocks. Speaking of which, we need a zone to put all of the granite blocks. Now Oh, there he goes. You see? Finish construction. And he's on it. I'm gonna put it for now. No, where to keep? We want it close so that you can just drop it off and grab the next one. Close to this, basically. I think for now we will just keep it next to this. Okay. Now again, we don't want anything to be stored here except for stone blocks. We only want them to put stone blocks on this spot right over here. It doesn't need to be roofed because it can't decompose. For instance, like this. And then obviously we go to this storage and we turn off stone blocks. See, and there she goes. And we have our first marble. Make granite blocks. What? Oh, that's what we decomposed. Deconstructed. Granite block 60. So now we can start basically. Before we get to the defense, we need a source of power for this and also for some lights because they hate being in the darkness. Now in the start they have very low expectations, which is a plus 30 when you just start, but it goes down over time. So you get a little bit of time to basically get everything in order, and then they start to 1 basically. So before that happens, we want to get some power for this and also for some lighting. So let's do that. Power. Now wind turbine, it gives free power and that's really nice, but this white blocks needs to be clear of any trees, any roofs and any walls, which makes it a little bit, not too great. Usually if I have a place where I have a lot of wood and some extra time to build stuff, I will place this down and just make wooden floors beneath it so that nothing grows there. But we have also a lot of wood, so I might as well just use a wooden furnace. And now where to put the wooden furnace? Now usually I place it in like an area like this, but since we have the two of them a little bit separated, I almost feel like placing it on this side just to be able to get the power sufficiently to the two of them. Otherwise I'm gonna place it let's do that for now. It might be a little bit far. We're gonna lose some steel with the power cables. Okay, now we can add some batteries in this one as well when we get to that. And then power, we want to move it from here into this building, through this and to this, and then care, and then into this one. Okay, let's leave him to build this, and once he's done with that we can get to placing the lights and the aircon for the refrigerator. There we go. The generator is finished and they will bring wood to it and it will give power. Okay, we just got a mad squirrel. Now this is like I said, the first few events you don't really have to worry too much about building defenses around because the animals, the raids aren't going to be that bad. But something I want to mention now is that you should set this to attack on the ones that are good at attacking and you want them to fight when they see something. So now I'm not even going to worry about the squirrel coming in unless it starts to break something or attacks animals of mine. And also berries is a great way of getting food if you forgot to grow. But look at that, already we have rice grown. You see, there, done. I didn't even have to care about it. But if you see, rice grows really nice, really fast, and because it's in fertile soil, it's even better. You get a lot of food from this. It's a really good way to do it, and this is for carpets and clothing. So a bulk scoot trader just arrived. Now, to make some deals, buy a few things and so on with them, you want your best social skilled person to do this, but remember that you need to take a look at talking and hearing. If this is down for any reason, like an injury or anything like that, you won't get as good deals. Okay, now in the start you're not gonna have a lot to trade with them, but they might have a few things that you can use. For instance, maybe some medicine, some food if you forgot to grow, or it's just cold, or for any reason like that. But we'll take a look now to see what they have, and we can speak a little bit about that. Now, a great way to keep your wealth down also is to gift things to them. Now, we don't have to worry about that for now. This will, when you give them a gift, it will go give you a boost in their opinion to you, so they will feel a little bit happier about you and won't attack you or whatever. And you bring down your colony wealth, so the rates will be a little bit less. Now let's see what they have to sell, which we can use. You see, they have some chickens. We don't have a pen yet, so I'm not going to buy that now, but that's something you could have bought. They have some components which is good for later on we will need, but I didn't take a look at the map. Cloth, if they come a little bit later with this, I'd love to buy cloth from them to make the bedrooms out of carpet, but for now there's not really anything I'd want from them. Now we finished building the power system, so now I want to show you guys the refrigerator, temperature, refrigerator. Remember, blue inside for the cold obviously, and the red should be outwards towards the open air basically, otherwise you're gonna fry someone else. And then the lights, you want to put a light like in, if they're in the dark, everything's slower, everything is slower in the dark, and they also hate being in the dark. So I usually throw a few lights in the spots where we build stuff, like where crafting is being done and things like that, just to speed them up and to keep them from getting too much of a negative debuff, like a negative mood from being in the dark for too long, since they're going to spend a lot of time in that areas. That's also why I did it in this. They will move through this a lot, and also through here, and you know, so you want lights, you want a refrigerator to keep this food will spoil in 3.5 days if we do not get a refrigerator. And now she's at level 8 with planting. That's why I want a double passion in planting with a decent skill, so that we can now basically have medicine. And also I'm going to go into health and set this to herbal medicine now, since we are growing it. We haven't harvested any yet. As soon as we harvest some heal root, I will set this to herbal medicine only, because I don't want them to use my good medicine, this medicine, on any small fist bruises or anything like that basically. But then you have to remember, if they get heavily injured, to change it back up, otherwise you could be in some serious problems. Now with this, you basically have yourself a pretty good start. You have food, you have a way of making food, you have a refrigerator, and you have a place to sleep. Now in the next video I will talk more about bedrooms and about securing your area for a little bit extra safety. So click on the video down on that side, I think on that side, yeah, click on that side. That's the next episode. Okay guys, thank you for watching this one, and let me know if there's anything you are wondering about. I will put it in the next episode. Thank you. Bye.